Okay, the new year has not really started until we've observed Donald Trump behaving insanely on Twitter, and he did just that. So we can now say the year has started formally. Donald Trump tweeted threats to Iran, and then abruptly switched to asking for feedback about which UFC mixed martial arts knockouts his followers thought were the best of 2019. Totally normal, totally cool, totally presidential behavior. Donald Trump tweeting, quote, "The U.S. Embassy in Iraq is and has been for hours safe. Many of our great war fighters, capital W, all one word, not a word I'm familiar with, war fighters, together with the most lethal military equipment in the world, was immediately rushed to the site. Many of our warfighters was rushed to the site." So grammatically problematic. "Thank you to the President and Prime Minister of Iraq for their rapid response upon request. Iran will be held fully responsible for lives lost or damage incurred at any of our facilities. They will pay a very big price. This is not a warning. It is a capital T threat. Happy New Year." Now, this is already crazy, and we'll talk about the substance in a little bit. But then almost immediately, just 15 minutes later, Donald Trump instead tweeting about UFC mixed martial arts knockouts, saying just for a little change of pace, linking to who had the best knockout of 2019. It was a poll by the UFC, run, of course, by Donald Trump's friend Dana White. And then just minutes later, Donald Trump going right back to allegations of fake news, attacking people, talking about Benghazi, threatening stuff on Twitter. Why Donald Trump interrupted his unhinged political rants to ask about the best UFC knockout, I couldn't tell you. Is this merely the attention span of a fruit fly manifesting on Twitter? Is this some kind of crafted strategy? What is this? And then, of course, the realization, remember, I said at the top of the show today, we are fighting normalization here. This is the intellectual capacity of a person who is empowered to speak on the behalf of the United States around the world. This is the person who is making decisions about, do we bomb another country or don't we? Do we put tariffs on that destroy entire industries or don't we? He is pausing his geopolitical threats on Twitter to post about Ultimate Fighting Championship knockouts. This is not normal. I don't care how much his followers pretend that it's normal or insist that it's normal or believe that it is normal. It is not. Now, let's get to the subject matter of these protests in Iraq, because this is not merely unhinged tweeting. This actually is a politically substantive discussion. Donald Trump and some others are framing what is going on at the U.S. Embassy in Iraq as an attack by Iran on America. Okay? Now, these are the protests of Iraqis who are sick and tired of what's going on in Iraq. But these are also protests where the tactics are ones that I find absolutely disgusting and violent. So it's important not to be sucked into Trump's narrative, which corporate media widely has, while still understanding that recognizing that this is not an attack by Iran on the United States doesn't mean that we necessarily agree with the tactics that are being employed. Lots of corporate media has either been lazy or dishonest by parroting this idea, the idea that what's taking place in Iraq is Iran attacking the United States because Iraqis are protesting at the United States Embassy. You don't have to agree with the tactics or anything like that, but falling for this narrative of an attack by Iran on the United States, it's almost like Trump is ramping back up to justify, at some point in the next 6 to 8 months, attacking Iran. Lo and behold, as the 2020 election is going to be going on in earnest, as the general election debates are going to be going on. Ignorant, but malignantly dangerous in his ignorance and his arrogance and the fact that he's willing to just go on Twitter and say these things. So there's two sides to this. I'm doing my best, again in 2020, not to simply analyze this as if this is how presidents say what they think. The entire context of this, tweeting threats to Iran, tweeting about UFC knockouts, going back to talking about Benghazi and other things, the context is whacked out. And the substance also warrants refuting. And we've got an uphill battle for ourselves trying to deal with this all the way up until the November of 2020 election. Make sure you are following the David Pakman Show on Instagram for more coverage of this and other stories from today's show at David Pakman Show. Also, follow me on Instagram. I got a lot of messages, positive messages and negative messages about the Brittany-style crepes that I had in Paris last week, okay? I posted a video of this. There are two sides. It's like everything I do, somebody's furious about it. There are people who praised me for not getting those flour, the whole wheat flour street crepes in Paris and going for the Brittany-style buckwheat crepes. And then there's a whole bunch of people who are calling me completely beta for eating crepes, that I am like John Kerry, a beta male Frenchman for even considering a meal of a... Listen, I hope people are kidding, but if you're curious, you can check that out on my Instagram at david.pakman. We'll take a break. I have two Bernie Sanders stories coming up next. The establishment seems to have realized Bernie actually could win the nomination. We're going to talk about that next. We're also going to talk about the latest fundraising numbers from the fourth quarter of 2019. They are interesting for a number of different candidates, and that includes Bernie. Quick break, right back after this.